Okay, so I've been wanting to do this for a bit, where I break down the anatomy of a Whorrify song and kind of the thought process that goes in behind when I write things. I've chosen Open Grave because it's our most complicated one. There's a lot of different parts to it. So the first part just goes like this. So I'm not gonna get into playing it too much, but it's really just to slow it down. It's or rather, right? And that was just to kind of have a chaotic opening, I guess. Honestly, the beginning of the song is not that interesting. I think that I just started out with, let's have this really crazy opening and then have it go into some slower parts, almost like it's a bit progressive. The tapping is the part that's interesting because I couldn't really do what I wanted to do. When I play it live, I do a little bit more of this, but oh, okay. The tapping part is just. Or rather, it's this thing right here, sorry. But the part that I wanted to get to was the. And it was supposed to have this really shaky sound, and it doesn't on both the recording and when I played it live, because I found it hard to keep that warble kind of going, but I wanted it to sound really weird and uncomfortable. I find I can do that much easier after scalloping this guitar too. And that comes from a lot of synth kind of stuff that I like, especially like in science fiction games and movies. Sci-fi horror synth. I like this kind of uncomfortable sound. And then it's pretty standard riff after that. We're just going into power chords. And then we have these sort of like weird chord, inverted power chords. Because I like to go higher on the guitar when possible. Do more of these rock chords, but then keep that danger. And then up here, you'd never hear this. Even on the recording, you probably don't hear this, but we're just doing the open. And then adding some harmonics, so it's like. I was really going for like a but on the harmonic. Now, after scalping the guitar, I actually noticed that these harmonics don't seem to ring out the same way. So that's something that sounds a little different now. And then we go to the crunchy kind of breakdown. That used to be a bend up here, just bending that top. And it still is, but now I can just press down on the string. Because it's scalloped, it'll just go right in. And before that, in Hate This, I would actually go right up top here onto the headstock and push down there. Now, of course, I got locking nuts. I can't do that, but I don't need to do that. Bends and everything else are almost way too easy now. And then this riff here is directly from one of my favorite bands. I got a tattoo of them on my arm. They're called Sex Machine Guns. And they play this much slower, where they go. And it's the basis for one of their songs. But I just speed it up a lot, and then it goes into just letting this bend out, kind of, and then that's a joke, kind of. That was meant to be sort of amusing. We have solos that are like that too, where it's just like, and it's just so simple, right? There's nothing to them, and it's meant to kind of almost be making fun of, or not making fun of because I like them, but the fact that we're just kind of shitty. It's kind of the basis of Whorrify, is like, you can just do that all day and it's pretty dumb. You just sit there and you can maybe impress somebody, I don't know, probably not. But that's kind of where a lot of these ideas come from. It's like, let's do this, I call it the Pantera riff, and then it turned into the Iron Man riff, and everybody's making fun of that, and then we got the We Are Iron Man thing in there. You know, we're just being goofy, basically. A lot of our stuff, I find, has a goofier feel to it. I think the most serious of our solos so far is from that Slaughter song. I'm getting very distracted because my kids are upstairs. The little one wants to have a bath, and Mom's doing something. And then Scott has some bass behind that makes it sound sort of ominous. But for most of our songs, I like to have a lot of happy sort of riffs or upbeat stuff, but then change the tone so that it goes into that minor area, you know. I want it to always have that, I like to call it the horror sound, right? So, you know, every time I write a song, that's kind of where I like to go, is have something that sounds like it could be from a horror movie or a spooky cartoon. I think a lot of, I think about a lot of old shows and things like that, old like Mickey Mouse horror cartoons from like the 20s and the 30s. Another one that I like is this really old Japanese cartoon called Gegege no Kitaro, and it's got this... So I like to have those kinds of sounds in there. And I guess that just happens naturally. It might happen because our name is Whorrify, and it's like, well, why are we called Whorrify? And it's just because someone made a name, and it stuck. And so whenever I write riffs, I try to put something that maybe fits that a little bit. So this is getting long. I hope this kind of shows you how dumb the process is. I'm not a real musician. I just like music a lot and try and copy it wherever I can. But anyway, there you have it. That is the breakdown of a Whorrify song. In case you ever want to know who's behind the riffs and what's going through my head when I'm making them. And there's usually an idea, a kernel of an idea there to create some kind of a story or something in the music itself. That usually doesn't come from lyrics. The lyrics almost always come after, and try and fit into what that tone feels like. And there you have it. Have a good weekend, everybody.